Welcome back to Indy Ball Nation. I often find sometimes in life the things that, are positive are also your negative. So, for example, and I don't know, this is like off the top of my head, I don't know where this even came from. Just, the same sort of personality traits that would make you the type of person who would just dive into covering something like Indy Ball and, being real into the stats and data from that one and putting in the legwork there. Also, the same kind of things that will just have you go, whoo, and completely forget to post, a whole league preview or two until like almost a month after the season starts. I don't know. That's off the top of my head. Unrelated note, we're going to talk about the Frontier League and Pioneer League previews today. Did the Pioneer League start like 2 weeks ago? Sure. Did the Frontier League start almost a month ago? Yes. We're going to have to take a different approach to it. We're going to basically take the angle of, hey, what did this team project as back when, projections were relevant? And now, based on their first few weeks here, what have we learned? What can we take away from this? And what do their projections look like now? So basically, has your team completely ruined their season yet? Before that, we'll take a look at some standings because we're basically going to breeze over American Atlantic right now because it's Pioneer and Frontier's time to shine. And honestly, we're going to go more in depth on the Pioneer League because they tend to get hosed. And why? Because their games are late and I'm East Coast and I'm not biased or nothing, but by the time it's like the 7th inning, I'm like fully into like honk shoe mode half the time, just out on the couch. So yeah, sorry, I'm trying not to completely screw over the Pioneer League whenever I can. So this is going to be the opportunity. Frontier League, you will be fine. Let's look at standings real quick. We'll go American Association first. In the East, you got Kane County Cougars. They're up at 14-9. They're up a game over Cleburne. They're at 13-10. Chicago's 11-10. They are 2 games back, as is Milwaukee, same record. Those are the last two. In the playoff picture right there, I know it's early talk playoff picture, but we got to talk about it at some point, so there it is. Lake Country, they're 3.5 games behind that playoff cut line, and Milwaukee, they are 8-14, 5.5 games back from first, and a game behind them at 7-15 is Gary South Shore. In the West Division, we got Sioux Falls Canaries. They are 13-7. They are a half game up on Fargo at 13-8. Behind them, it's Kansas City Monarchs at 12-9, and then it is the 11-12 Winnipeg Goldeyes. Then the playoff cut line, Lincoln is at 9-13, 5 games behind first, a game and a half behind the playoff cut line, and Sioux City is 2 games behind Winnipeg in that last playoff spot at 8-13. To the Atlantic League real quick, we'll go. North Division got York 2 games up at the top. They are, by the way, coming down the stretch here. What, they got 30 games-ish left? Math is hard. About 30 left until the end of the first half. So keep an eye on that one. Playoff races are here, whether you know it or not. Got York at the top, 22-13. They're 2 games above Staten Island, who has won 3 in a row. So they are still charging after a sort of choppy week they had there for a minute. They are 20-15. Long Island is then 3 games behind them, tied with Lancaster at 17-18. And then it's the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars at 13-22. They are 9 games out of first. Stormers have now won 7 in a row, by the way. Terrifying. Gastonia has lost 4 in a row because they did play Lancaster during that stretch. They are 22-13. They still lead the South Division by a game. High Point is at 21-14. That's Charleston, who has lost 6 in a row, including some games to Lancaster. They are 17-18 now, 5 games out of first place. Southern Maryland Blue Crabs are 16-19. They're 6 games out of first. And then it's Lexington at 10-25, now 12 games out of first place in the South. Now, with that out of the way, welcome to Indy Ball Nation. Hey, subscribe if you'd like. Like if you would like. See what I did? Yeah, that's how professional pages would work, right? Okay. Subscribe if you want to. Or send someone else and tell them to subscribe, and then they'll be like, what is this? Get help. Play that Bryce Hensley intro. All right, we have made it Pioneer League preview. We're going to start there, and then we'll kind of blitz through the Frontier League, as I said earlier. And we're going to go bottom projections, like the bottom end of it, the worst team projected. There we go. A worst team always feels bad, but it is what it is. I mean, what are we going to do here? And then we'll go to the top. As a reminder, Pioneer League is all one division now, with the 2 teams expanding out west. They kind of just thought it was easier, I guess, to separate it that way and go just not involve the complication of divisional schedules, even though scheduling is weird in the Pioneer League. Maybe it's a different conversation for a different day, but we'll talk about it, I'm sure. It comes up during the projections actually once or twice. With that, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole. I'm showing self-control, guys. I'm doing my best. Let's talk about the Idaho Falls Chuckers. They were the worst team projected to start the season with a projected record of 36-60. Their ceiling was 60-36, and the floor was 19-77. Now, I'll stop here. What does that mean? What we're talking about here? First of all, where do the projections come from? For those who don't know, the projections, I run them. I basically do player projections and then adjust those to each individual roster and how much playing time it looks like they're going to get. And then from there, you can start to understand how many runs the team is projected to give up, how many runs are projected to score, and then also how many, based on past history, what teams tend to do in the way of adding, which is a difficult, very squishy type of calculation for projections, but it is what it is. When we're talking projections, the median projection is that like 36-60 record for Idaho Falls preseason. The ceiling is the high-end projection, and then the floor would be the low-end projection. Idaho Falls, oddly enough, is the biggest window of any team. We'll talk about that. Their strengths, it looked like, I like the look of their outfielders, Chase Hansen, Gabe Ramos, but neither of them were starting in the lineup to start the season. So some of the up-and-comers have good potential upside there, which is sort of what bumped that high ceiling up. The weaknesses outside of pitcher Sergio Ramirez, pretty much none of the team's hitters or pitchers project to be above average in the league, so that's hard to see. Ranked last in the preseason power rankings for both offense and pitching, brutal. Currently, they're 4-8. They've won 2 games, both against Missoula and Northern Colorado. Not bad work there at all. Honestly, that's about what they were projected to do against them. What's been working for them so far, offense has been much better than expected so far. So that's a win. Scoring nearly 13 runs per game in their wins. Tyler Wyatt, Chris Monroe, Trevor Rogers, Brett Barrera, Kevin Johnson, Jacob Jablonski, all appear in my top 50 hitters in the league so far. Boning, he's right there with them as well. That's almost the entire lineup if you're keeping track. So what's not working? Well, the pitching has been brutal. They're allowing about 13 runs per game flat out. So like in their wins, they're scoring as many runs as they're just giving up on average. Outside of Dusty Baird and Garrett Crowley in the bullpen, the pitching staff is an ERA in the 14s. Sergio Ramirez has gotten crushed. Bad vibes all around. Updated projection at this point, even with the offense being better than expected, they are staying right at a 36-60 projection. Glacier Range Riders projected at a 41-55 with a high-end projection of a 55-41 ceiling and a low-end floor of 26-70. Their strengths, the pitching, they were ranked twice. They were ranked second in the league preseason. Got about 8 guys with Pioneer League experience, including pretty much an entire potential rotation there, as well as another big chunk of the staff which had high-level D1 time, like talking like Big Ten, Pac, whatever it is now, nothing now, I guess, SEC, ACC, things like that. So they got that kind of time under their belts too. That's big. Weaknesses, hitting. Preseason ranked 10th in the league. It's a projected offense with serious depth issues. But that really wasn't discounting guys like infielders like Chad Castillo, Andy Atwood, Christian Kirtley, DH Ben Fitzgerald, outfielder John Daly, who can do some damage. And their current record is 9-3. They're getting it done early. What's working for them? Well, they beat up on Oakland. They lack pitching depth for sure, and Glacier cashed in. Lost 2-1-4 on them. But Castillo, Atwood, Kirtley, and Fitzgerald are all batting out their minds in the early going. The entire pitching staff is delivering on their projections. Starters have a 4.62 ERA, basically lights out in this league. Cooper Benson, Jonathan Pintaro, and Caleb Sophie, they've all looked good, really good early. The bullpen has multiple go-to options. You love to see that, especially in the Pioneer. So what's not working for them? Well, we're not really sure of their opponents so far. Oakland and Great Falls are kind of unknown quantities in the league. They won't really play a certified strong opponent until June 25th when they got 6 games against Missoula. So that's something to keep an eye on, but they better cash these games in while they can. Updated projections. I'm impressed by what I've seen, even against the competition they've played. Projections do give them a bump from a 41-55 record up to a 45-52 projected record. So how about that? 4 games already bumped up in the projections. Let's talk about those Oakland Ballers. 45-51 was their projection preseason. Ceiling was a 56-40 record with the floor of a 36-60. The strengths, the offense projects to be around league average. You got good D1 talent in the lineup added to Jalen Smith and Dondre Hubbard. On the weaknesses, the pitching projects to be bottom 3, has some real depth issues that could become real concerns there. The same issues, that depth in the rotation and the bullpen also kind of plagues the lineup projection as well, which is why it kind of holds them back from being too highly rated. Currently, they are 5-5. It's pretty good for them. They were, 2-4 to start. They got hot there. What's been working? Pitching, kind of. They've looked good in 6 or 7 games. Tyler Davis, Elijah Pleasance, Derek Cherry. but they're still kind of figuring out what the rotation is. They're kind of plugging and playing. Some dudes have been getting absolutely hammered on the bump. They've given up like 20 runs a couple times. They've blown some big leads. It's tough to see. Hitting has been as expected. They're staying competitive. Dondre Hubbard's fantastic as usual. Austin Davis, Peyton Harden, and Miles Jefferson, they're all deserving of attention as well. What's not working, as I said, the pitching. They've already given up a lot of runs on their bad days. Again, there's just a lack of depth, and you can tell when they're out of pitchers now. Okay. Just some fluid rotation movements, which I think should sort of balance out. The staff's giving up a ton of runs right now, though, but that should mostly work out as they figure out what the roles are supposed to look like here. They still lack weapons down the lineup, but I think it should be okay. I'm not impressed by who they're beating on or by their roster depth, frankly, or their pitching staff depth, but the projection is bumping up from that 45-51 to a 46-50 as they have been holding their own better than expected. Let's talk Billings. Billings, they were 47-49 with their projected record, ceiling of 51-45 with a floor of 38-58. So basically between 38 and 51 wins. That's the smallest projection window of any team in the league. Strengths, the outfield trio of Brendan Ryan, Taylor Lomack, and Briley Knight project to be very promising. Solid potential rotation arms like Ethan McRae, Trevor Jackson, Luke Reddick, Daniel Willey, Patrick Maybach, he's in that. They create some good potential for them. A couple ways you can go about sort of structuring that. On the weaknesses, it's just a lack of pro experience is kind of a concern. Outside of that outfield group, they project to be pretty weak, leaving them as just the number 11 offense in the preseason rankings. Again, there's 12 teams. Pitching is about league average in the projections, but they do lack depth in relief. Depth is a theme. If you cannot tell, it's the Pioneer League. Currently, they are 7-5. What's working? Offense is a bit better than expected, but it isn't exceptional. They're averaging 8 runs a game. Lomack and Ryan are as advertised in the outfield with Alejandro Figueiredo and Mitch Morales. They've started the year real hot too. The rest of the lineup is, though, below league average. Facing Boise's pitching 6 times so far probably hasn't helped, but also it's like Boise's probably good, but also is part of that because they also face this Great Falls team 6 times. It's tough to tell what's, is the tail wagging the dog or what have you. McRae and Logan Lee, they are looking good in the rotation so far, but the rest of the staff is really struggling with an 11.85 ERA when you remove that pair from the math. That's concerning for sure, especially because they haven't really faced very strong offenses so far in Great Falls and Boise. That's troubling, I'd say. So Billings is just kind of navigating as expected. So that's going to be another team where the projection will just bump up 1 game to a 48-48, sitting at 500. Let's talk Northern Colorado Owls. Projected at 49-47. Their ceiling is 56-40. Their floor, though, is way down at 31-65. Let's talk strengths. Offense and pitching both land at number 4 in the preseason rankings. Despite not having a lot of pro experience on the roster, the lineup does have impressive potential. Henry George, Brandon Trammell, and Jackson Coates, they all promise to do some damage. On the weak side, there are multiple solid options, but I have some concern about like the obvious lack of starting depth. That was, at least in the projections, there was some concern about it. They had the potential to really blow up. Thus, that's why the floor was so low on this. However, they're off to a 9-3 start right now. Why? What is working? Well, playing Ogden and Idaho Falls does make that record, a little less impressive. Got to be honest. Sorry. But the offense is the best in league so far, and pitching is performing as expected, which is good. Dave Matthews, Dario Gomez, and Euro plus George and Coots, they're just leading a lineup with like 7 guys who are comfortably batting above league average right now. On the pitching side, you got Tyler Curtis and Chase Jassy. They lead a staff that just have some dudes dealing basically every night. What's not working really is just who their competition is. They got some stuff to prove here. Create some doubt about the sustainability of this. When it comes to projections, they kind of were projected to do fine against these teams, so beating up on them, it doesn't help that much. But considering that opponents, I wouldn't overreact, but I'm still seeing that projected win total bounce up 3 games from a 49 to a 52-44 record. So they are starting to chip away already at that and climb up the rankings a bit. Let's talk about the Ogden Raptors team. Oh my gosh. All right. So they projected at 47-49. The ceiling was 54-42. The floor is 35-31, another sort of tight window there. The hitting was ranked 5th in the preseason rankings. Projections really liked catcher Thomas Greeley, infielder Tyler Clark, Chia Pirelli, and outfielders Pierce Howard and Nick Ulch. A couple tough ones in the middle there. Pierce Howard's not a tough name. That was an excuse. I don't know. I'm not letting myself get away with that one. Pitching-wise, also ranked 5th during the preseason rankings. They got a few arms that look reliable, including Rafael Vazquez in the rotation, as well as John Rice and Chris Maka in the pen. However, lack of depth in both the rotation and the bullpen are what limit that high-end potential of the team and really expose them to some risk. And currently they are 2-10 to start this campaign. What's working? Well, not much. Ulch is hitting well alongside like Chris Sargent, Pierce Howard, and Connor Bagnieski. Tyler Curtis has looked really good in the rotation. Chase Jassy has been really good too. What's not working? I mean, Clark Chiapparelli, he's been released. That's not great. No batters in the top 30, according to like my sort of ongoing rankings I just keep on the side. On the pitching side, basically everyone other than Christian Griffin and Quinn Waterhouse are getting smacked. They're walking a batter an inning, giving up 2 home runs per game. It's just a mess. I don't know what they're going to do. I know it's probably part of the usual call for, tryouts, but like they just put out a video like, hey, if you're a college kid, come try out. Like, yeah, probably. Not great, man. At least they've been playing good competition though. Like they played Northern Colorado and Missoula. So they're not getting smacked by Idaho Falls. Sorry, Idaho Falls catching a stray there. They're like, hey, we got a better record than Ogden. What are we talking about? I know. Sorry. But yeah, maybe that competition looks good because they're playing Ogden though. Tough call. So updated projections. Yeah, the projections don't look good, obviously. They've already dropped 3 games from that 47-49 to a 44-52, which is actually better than it could have been, honestly. They were only projected to win 4 or 5 of these games out of the first 12 anyway, so winning 2 isn't that bad, but yikes. Let's talk the Boise Hawks. We're into the above 500 projections, by the way. 50-46 projected record, a ceiling of 59-37, a floor of 43-53. They're hitting ranked 8th in the preseason. Not a lot of pro experience, but I do like the look of Patrick Marino, catcher Ben Lavorsi, and Cole Kaler. I'm a big Ben Lavorsi guy. Honestly, most of the lineup projects well. They are ranked 8th, but it's not hard to look at. Pitching-wise, they rank 3rd in the preseason rankings. They got some guys with experience that I really like, including Casey Dykstra. I'm a big Casey Dykstra guy. Evan Kowalski, Blake McFadden, and Braden Spears. They're currently 8-4. They're handling their business. And what is working? Well, the pitching has been really impressive. Tyler Davis, Elijah Pleasance, and Derek Cherry are off to fantastic starts. The Hawks are allowing a run less per game than any other team in the league right now. What's not working? Well, the offense is fine, but not stellar. It's about as projected, we'll say. Their 4 losses were by an average score of 6.5 to 3.5, which in this league is like a waste of some good pitching. So that hurts. That's eventually going to bite them. The updated projection says pitching looks like it might be closer to the high-end projection, so that's just going to be enough to take them from a 50-40. No, hold on. Uh-oh, we gotta save this. I got it. We're okay. Haha. I can't type, and that's fine. We're leaving this whole thing in. I'll own it. That man don't feel like editing it. But that takes them, the sort of bump in that pitching projection, takes them from a 50-46 projected record to a 52-44. So that's not insignificant, especially in what should be a tight playoff race. Let's talk about the vibes. Rocky Mountain. Projection 49-47 preseason. The ceiling was sitting at 56-40 with a floor of a 37-59 record. Strengths. The offense projects as number 2 in the league. Rocky Mountain can always attract offense to that ballpark, but Ernie Yake, Mason Sykes, and Steven Rivas, they all look impressive. That was a noteworthy sort of additions, or, the lineup just looks good. There's not much to even add there. It's a solid. The vibes got it. They know what they're doing. Weaknesses. Well, pitching looks weaker at the number 8 spot in the preseason. That's not overly surprising, as it's easier to recruit that hitting. It's going to be harder to recruit that pitching. Casey Minchie, Zach Ottinger, Kelsey Ward, and Christian Day are all key returners, which is good to see. Projections also like Daniel Noonan. He's in there. However, the roles will need some defining. There could be some growing pains for the staff in like a difficult ballpark situation as they try to figure out, who's regularly starting. What's this rotation look like? Is it a 5-man or 6-man? There's going to be a lot of flexibility there. So keep an eye on that. Could hurt. Current record 3-6. What is working? The offense is predictably legit, scoring 10+ runs per game, even with a slow start from Yake. Christian Day, Stephen Wilmer, and Brett Carson, as well as Dane Toftelin, are all on hot starts for themselves. On the flip side, though, the pitching has been brutal, man. Blown multiple big leads. They allowed 16. They had a 9-2 lead on Oakland in the first and lost that game. Cringe. Blown multiple big leads, as I said. They allowed 16 runs per game while dropping 5 of 6 in that Oakland series. That's a series where they just wasted 2 games where they scored 10+ runs. Can't be doing that. The batting is better than expected, but they were expected to be really good already. The pitching, however, is concerning. It's too early to overreact, but the projected record has dropped from a 49 and 47 to a 47 and 49. So 2 games down on that. Let's talk high wheelers. YOLO projected a 50 and 46 with a 58 win ceiling, a 34 loss sort of floor. They rank 6th in both the pitching and their hitting preseason. Batting. The lineup has a lack of big name guys. They got some no standout projection type dudes, but they have really good depth. They have 11 guys projected to bat above league average on this thing. So that's a huge win. Pitching wise, also good depth. Guys like Mike Sansone, Jack Zalaski, Ben Ferrer, and Cal McCanich. They look like high potential additions to the roster. They are currently 5-4, not a bad start. Pitching's top 3 in the league so far, so that's working for them. Relievers look good. There is multiple options in that bullpen. Connor Langville and Ty Buckner have been looking really good, standout potential guys there. If we're looking at what's not working, I mean, despite Jose Gonzalez and Bobby Leota playing fantastic, just out of their minds, hair on fire, killing the ball. Unfortunately, the rest of this lineup is really struggling. I was like, oh, great depth. 11 guys projected to be above league average. Well, they're kind of struggling here, at least by Pioneer League standards. So not great, but the team looks good. Projections have actually bumped them up 3 games from a 50 and 46 projection to a 53 and 43. That's huge. Again, mostly in the strength of figuring that offense will come along, and that pitching does look better than expected. Let's head over to, let's talk Great Falls, huh? Projection of 49 and 47. You got a lot of these tight ones right around that 500 mark. 49 and 47 projected record, 61 and 35. High in projection, a floor of a 36 and 60. The offense, they were 9th ranked in the preseason rankings. Ryan Major and Livingston Morris look good in projections. On the pitching side, they were 11th ranked, and yeah, I know, how are they the 4th best projected record if they were 11th ranked pitching and 9th ranked offense? I don't know. Honestly, I think it had something to do with the scheduling, because I do it by matchup as well, and they had a couple teams where it looked like they were going to eat wins, so different thing. Anyway, yeah, pitching is rough. Steven Wasilewski could be good, but current record, 3-9. So there's that. What is working is Mackie Backstrom, Zane Washington, and Freddie Rojas Jr. are crushing the ball. Washington already has 18 RBI in 10 games. On the bump, Nate Maddage, he looks really good early. Kenny Carrillo shows promise. But what is not working is, well, the hitting is 5th worst in the league. Pitching is 4th worst in the league, which is about what it looks like, when you get, that's not surprising. They got worked over basically by Billings and Glacier for the past 2 weeks. And yeah, it makes sense that they're going to be below league average on things. I mean, the last time I saw that much Montana-based violence, that was those episodes where Yellowstone was truly morphing into a soap opera. And you're like, all right, I see where we're going here. We're going more Friday Night Lights direction. I digress. Updated projections here. Their projections have already dropped from a 49 and 47 to a 46 and 50. That's tough to see. Just kind of underwhelming, as the total picture comes together. And that's going to, they're losing games to Great Falls, or to Glacier and Billings. That's going to look worse when they play Missoula, I think. Grand Junction. The Jackalopes, man, projected 52 and 44, not bad. Projected stealing of 68 and 28, awesome. Projected floor of 39 and 57, not awesome, but okay. Batting, top-ranked preseason. Kelly Dugan was a wild addition to pull out of the Atlantic League. Drew Sackett is an interesting infielder, as is Mike Bathauer at third base. Talking the pitching, they were ranked 9th preseason, which is at least an improvement from last season. There's potential with guys like Jake Dexter, Elijah Johnson, and Diego Jordan, some great names in that crew, by the way. But the staff will mostly just be looking to keep that offense in the game day to day. Currently, though, they are 3-9. What's been working? Well, strangely, the pitching's been working. I don't know what to make of that. Hunter Bryan, Cole Lee, Zach Martinez, and Connor Barton are all dealing. A lot of the question marks in that pitching staff have actually turned out to be pretty good in the early going. What is not working is the offense is terrible. What is happening right now? Kelly Dugan's the only batter above 300. This is the Pioneer League. He is the only batter above 300 in this lineup, and he has only played half the games. Team OPS is 174 points below the nearest team. That is good for an OPS plus of 41. For those of you uninitiated, 100 is average. They are a 41. They were the best projected offense in the league preseason. What is happening? Projection updates. Projections are anticipating some sort of regression to the mean. It just can't be this bad for a continued period of time. It doesn't make sense. The balance has to be struck with this lineup. It's good to see the pitching is better than expected, though. So with all that, the projection does drop off. It drops from 52 and 44 to a 49 and 47. Not bad, though. Could be worse. We figure they're going to get together at some point, but they better do it quick because they're 12 games into a 96-game season. So the math ain't mathin' if you hang on too long here. Last but not least, certainly not least, because they are actually the best preseason projected team, the Missoula Paddleheads at 64-32 as a projected record. Their ceiling was 76 wins, which is crazy. The floor was 53-43. 10 games above 500 for your floor is out of control. Batting-wise, top-ranked offense led by lots of pioneer leaguers and guys with D1 experience. About 10 guys projected to be above league average bats in that lineup. On the pitching side, third-ranked pitching staff preseason. 10 top arms have experience in the league. Alfredo Villa, Ethan Swanson, they're expected to be nasty. It's just an exciting roster all around. It's one where we'll sit on the Indy Ball Report podcast and be like, dude, how good is Missoula? And they have been very good. Currently, they are 9-3. What is working? Well, the offense is crushing. 13 runs per game, nearly 2 home runs per game. Adam Fogel has been the league's best hitter. He's joined by 3 more hitters in my top 25 so far this season in that Missoula lineup. What's not working, I guess, pitching. They've been led by Armin Sabori, Andrew Garcia, and Connor Schultz, but it has been underwhelming. They've certainly not been third best in the league, more like 6th or 7th best. So that could cost them against better teams. You know, they've been playing Ogden, Idaho Falls. I literally joked about someone playing Ogden, Idaho Falls earlier. So not great, but it is still Missoula being Missoula type of thing here. And now projections, it is hard to improve on that 64-32 projected record, especially beating competition that Missoula was already expected to play well against. Still, they have added a win to that projected record with a now 65-31 projection. So that is your sort of Pioneer League preview / early season review, I guess we'll call it. And we're going to talk Frontier League. Now, Frontier League, what we'll do is we'll go a little bit quicker here as I get some water as to not die midway through this podcast and trying to reduce the number of edits I make. So probably going to leave that in. We're going to talk about what their projected record was, what their preseason rankings were, where they are currently, so very similar to the Pioneer League conversation, but we're going to go less in depth. Just talk about like maybe their top pitcher, top hitter, and sort of guys I picked to bounce back here who have had slow starts. So we'll start West Division, no East Coast bias here, try my best. And we'll start with the Schaumburg Boomers, who are the best projected team in that West Division. They were projected at 60-36 record. Offense's preseason ranking was 5th in the league. Pitching was 2nd. Again, this is a 16-team league, so that's good to see. And their preseason power ranking was 2nd in the league. Current record is 14-6. They are looking great. That updates their projection by 2 wins up to a 62-34 projected record. Top pitcher on the team so far, I would say, and this is just what my opinions are, so ignore it. If you're like, my guy, you didn't say my guy. Yeah, sorry. And sometimes I just think someone's more interesting because some guys get talked about a lot and some don't. So, is what it is. Cole Cook. 4 starts, 25 innings, only 20 hits in those 25 innings, and a 2.52 ERA. That will work. Top hitter, go Alec Craig, slashing 405, which is stop, pause, gross. 405, 521, 541 with 2 bombs in 20 games. You'll take that every time. Pitcher pick to improve, Dylan Stutzman. I like 10+ ERA so far, but I think he does get it together. On the hitting side, I think Brett Milazzo, he's hitting just 206, 295, 324 in 14 games. I think he'll get it together, though. I think a lot of balls in play just aren't landing for him. The new offense rank, they are up 1 to number 4 in the league compared to their preseason ranking, bumping the pitching up to number 1 from number 2. And in the power ranking, they will stay as the number 2 team here in the early going. To Evansville. Projection preseason was 56-40 with an offense ranked 4th, a pitching staff ranked 6th, and they were 4th in the power rankings preseason. Their current record, though, was 6-15, just have not gotten going. The new projection does stay even, basically at 56-40. Yeah, stays even, so nothing too concerning. Still thinks they're going to get it back together. Nope, check the math. 54. So it is down 2 games. 54-42 now is their projection. That's in a tight division race. That's going to be tough. Only 3 teams getting in per 8-team division. Evansville, got to get going. All right. Top pitcher, though, I got Zach Smith so far. Yeah, it's not really difficult. I mean, his ERA isn't great, but he struck out 25 guys in 26 1/3. Honestly, it's just because the rest of the staff hasn't been great either. But Zach Smith, I think, is probably the standout guy in my eyes on that. Top batter, David Mendham is going insane. 20 games played, 10 extra base hits, slashing 410, 549, 795 with 3 home runs. Disgusting, rude behavior. Don't appreciate that from him. Pitcher pick to improve. Let's go Leone De La Cruz. ERA over 8 and 8 relief appearances. I just think he's better than that. I think he will be better than that. Batter pick to improve. Riley Delgado. He's only slashing 214, 296, 243. But he's putting the ball in play. Just not finding luck, not finding grass right now. So I think they'll get better. Offense, they drop 2 spots in the ranking to the number 6 spot. Their pitching drops 2 as well to the number 8 spot. And they also drop 2 in the power ranking. Evansville now the 6th ranked team in the power ranking for the Frontier League. Let's talk Gateway Grizzlies. Preseason projection had them at 53 and 43, ranked their offense 6th, ranked their pitching 4th, and put them at 6 in the league power ranking. So far, they are also hot, 14 and 7. Their new projection already has them up 4 games to a 57 and 39 record. Top pitcher has been Dalen Miley, 30 strikeouts in just 19 innings over his 4 starts. Kevin Krause is raking at the dish. OPS over a 1.1 so far. That's fantastic. My pitcher pick to improve is Alvaro de los Santos. He has great stuff. He's just getting to tight spots and allowing runs. I think it's, balls finding gaps again. I think he'll be fine. Batter pick to improve, Abdiel Diaz. He's hitting just 188 so far. I'm not so sure if he's going to get that going, but I still feel optimistic. I'm still going to bet on the projections there. Offensively, they are now up 1 spot to being ranked 5th. Pitching is also up a spot. They are now ranked number 3 in the league, and they're up 2 in the Frontier League power rankings, up to number 4. Talking Joliet Slammers, their preseason projection was 51 and 45. Despite having the 12th ranked offense preseason, though they did have the 3rd ranked pitching staff preseason, leaving them at a power ranking spot of number 8 in the Frontier. Currently, their record is 8 and 13, a very slow start from them. Their new projection is down 4 full games to a 47 and 49. That's hurting to see. Top pitcher, though, Zach Westcott. He's looked great in the early going. Zach Westcott being Zach Westcott, there's no surprise there. Top hitter, in my eyes, I got Antonio Valdez. He's slashing 327, 400, 437 with a homer. Pick to improve on the mound, Ian Delliman. He struggled in 8 in the 3rd innings, but he struck out 15. That has to start working out eventually. And then at the dish, Victor Nova. Guy's getting on base. He's drawing walks, so his numbers should come around soon. I'm not too worried about him. Offensively, they are down 2 more spots in the ranking, all the way down to 14. Their pitching drops a spot down to number 4, and in the power rankings, they drop a spot down to number 9. That is your Joliet Slammers. Let's talk Washington Wild Things now. Moving quickly through this, but we got their projections 50 and 46 preseason, but they were ranked 7th in the preseason rankings for offenses, 8th for pitching, with a 9th power ranking spot entering the year. But they are 14 and 6. It's kind of a theme here. Some teams starting real strong or starting real weak. There's not much in between here in the early going. Their new projection is up 6 games. I believe it's the biggest bump of any team in any league so far for their projections. Up 6 to a 56 and 41 or 56 and 40 projected record. Math. The top pitcher, Kobe Foster, he allowed just 5 earned runs over his 24 and a third innings of work so far, and his whip is under a .8. That will play. Top batter, Andrew Check, who's cooled off a bit, but he still has an OPS over a 1.1 with 5 homers. My pitcher pick to improve, let's go Malik Barrington. High ERA and high walk rate so far, but I think he's going to get it figured out. I just feel it. Batter pick to improve, Ricardo Sanchez. He's batting 115. I think we'll get it going as long as he doesn't try doing too much other than getting the ball in play. He's been striking out all of a sudden recently, so I get it. Feeling desperate, but that's tough to see. Offense holds steady, staying ranked at number 7. Their pitching is up 2 spots to the 6th ranked spot in the Frontier League pitching, and their power ranking is up 4 to number 5. That is a huge jump for the Washington Wild Things there. And now, might as well talk Lake Erie here as we get down toward the bottom of the West Division projections. Lake Erie is projected at 41 and 55. The offense preseason was ranked 13th. Their pitching was ranked 12th, and that landed them at the 12th spot in the power rankings before the year started. However, they have started strong, 13 and 8 start. Projection has them up 4 games now to a 45 and 51 record. Still not great, still not really contending for a playoff spot, but this is as good a start as you really could have hoped for if you're them. Top pitcher, Jack Eisenbarger, 3 ERA through 27 innings. He struck out 32 over those 27, so that is great to have. Scout Knotts, great name. Offensively, he's slashing 354, 494, 492 in his 83 plate appearances. Let's go Trevor Kunkel as the pick to improve. 6.1 ERA, but I like his stuff. in 10 and a third innings so far. He's struggled, but I think he's going to start getting it. I feel like everything that finds a barrel or even finds the handle of a bat is getting through right now for him. So I think that just won't last. Batter I picked to improve. I got Ethan Skender. He's batting just 225 so far. He feels like he's going to improve from that one. Just a shot. In the new offense ranking, well, not new. Stays at 13. Pitching, though, is up 1 to the number 11 spot, but their power ranking still drops 1 to 13th ranked. Not really their fault. It's basically the teams around them perform well, but they should be happy with how that season has started so far. Let's talk Florence Y'alls. Projections have them at 39 and 57. Their offense was preseason ranked 14th. Their pitching was ranked 9th, so a little bit better. Power ranking landed them at 14th. Currently, they are 7 and 12, so kind of about right there. Their new projection does have them down 2 games to a 37 and 59 projection. Top pitcher so far, Ryan Watson, 17 strikeouts and just 1 walk in 3 starts. Like to see it. Top batter, Hank Zeisler, 343, 439, 531 slash line with a pair of dingers. Damn, Hank, go off. Pick to improve on the pitching side, I got Kent Kleiman, 6.75 ERA for him. Over 9 innings of work, but he does have 14 strikeouts, so you got to bet on that kind of playing out for him pretty well as things start to go. Pick to improve on the hitting side, Langdon Ginder. I'm going to say Ginder. Slow start for the backup infielder, but I still like him to get it going. New offense, if ranking, they are up 2 spots to the number 12 spot. Pitching, however, is down 3 spots to the number 12 spot. All in all, they'll stay at 14th in the power rankings for the Frontier League. Now to Windy City, the final team in the West. They were projected at 37 and 59 record. Offense preseason was ranked 15th. The pitching was ranked 13th, and they were 15th in the power ranking as a team. Currently, they are 9 and 13. Their new projection stays even at that 37 and 59 mark. Top pitcher so far, Will Armbruster, 2.3 ERA with a whip under 1 in 27 innings. Fantastic. More than you could have asked from him. Top batter, Henry Kuziak. They've lost every single game he has played since he got to the team, but he is 10 for 20, so something has to work out there. Pitcher pick to improve, Tyler Laporte. I like him. I've liked him for a long time. I think he's going to be just fine. Striking out 14 for 9. I think he's close. I think Tyler Laporte. I feel good about it. On the hitting side, J.J. Figueroa, he's hitting under 200 to start the year. I think things are starting to fall in for him soon, so just going to be optimistic there. Offensively, their ranking is down 1 to the number 16 spot, now ranked last. On the pitching side, they stay ranked at 13th, and in the power rankings, they will remain 15th. So, heading to the East Division. And where else will we start? We're going to start in Quebec. Projected at 60 and 36 preseason. Offense was ranked first in the preseason rankings. Pitching was ranked first as well, and they were first in the power ranking as a team. However, slow start, 10 and 11 so far. Their new projection is down 4 games to a 56 and 40 record. Top pitcher James Bradwell hasn't allowed an earned run over his 22 2/3 of work. Their top batter Justin Gideon has 6 bombs, so it's there. I think it's just some growing pains, maybe waiting for some rosters to fill out a little bit for him, or for Missoula, for Quebec. This was too much to fit into an episode, but I'm going to own it. Pitcher, I would pick to improve, Yosnier Pedron, ERA over 11 so far. My guy, you good? I feel like he's better than that, so we'll stay optimistic there. And batter pick to improve, Jake McKenzie. He's batting under 200 despite only striking out 12 times in 82 plate appearances. That's hard to do. That just means things aren't falling, man. I get it. Offense is down 1 in the rankings to number 2. Pitching also is down 1 to number 2. The new power ranking, though, they're going to stay at number 1. There's just too much confidence in them, too much history of them being fine. This is not a bad enough start to dethrone Quebec from this conversation. Let's talk Boulders, though. Projected 56 and 40. Preseason, their offense was ranked 2nd. The pitching was ranked 5th. Power ranking as a team, they were 3rd heading into the year. Currently, they are 14 and 6. New projection for them adds 2 games to that win column, 58 and 38 now, with their top pitcher being Blaine Traxel, 2.3 ERA in those 4 starts, and the top batter, David Vinsky. Love it. 6 bombs already. That'll handle business. Pitchers to improve. I like Colton Easterwood, 6.75 ERA in 9 innings, but he has a whip under 1, which means like just anything that's finding a bat at this point is getting through. Anybody who's getting walked, which is few and far between, is seemingly scoring. I think he'll be fine. Batter pick to improve, Joe DeLuca. He's slashing 228, 400, 491 so far, but I believe in what I've seen from him in the Atlantic League. I think he will be fine. Offense for New York, they are up 1 in the rankings, up to being the number 1 ranked offense. Pitching stays ranked at 5, and in the power rankings, New York stays ranked at number 3. The Miners, they projected at 54 and 43 preseason, with their offense ranked 9th and their pitching ranked 11th. That's another one where it's like, how they rank so high, considering how low those two were. A lot of matchup-based stuff, and honestly, I don't know. It's just the projection model. I put it in. I believe in it, and it tends to be pretty close. So, hey. Currently, they are 10 and 11. That makes more sense. New projection is down 4 wins to a 50 and 46 projected record. Top pitcher, Tyler Thornton, has looked great in his first 5 starts. However, despite only striking out 11 guys in 26 innings, he is still handling his business. Top batter, in my eyes at least, Corey Acton. He's playing well. He's making the most of his everyday lineup spot, which you like to see. My pick to improve on the mound, Ronnie Voacolo. Just everything he throws feels like it's getting hit into space right now, like not like outer space, just space on the field. That shouldn't last long. You got to figure he's going to break out of that. My pick to improve hitting-wise, Edwin Mateo. He's batting under 200, but he's making contact. He's rarely striking out. So again, got to figure that's going to work itself out. Offense is down 1 in the rankings to number 10 in the league. Pitching is up 1 to number 10 in the league. And their new power ranking is down 6 spots to the number 11 spot. That makes more sense. That feels like an adjustment from the projection model a little bit to be like, okay, there's some unknown quantities here. Now we know a little more. We're going to put them at 11. I think that's the biggest drop of any team, maybe in any league so far. Ottawa, as we kind of round the corner here in the last division. The Ottawa Titans projected 52 and 44 preseason. Their offense was ranked 11th preseason. Their pitching was ranked 7th preseason. Power ranking wise, they were ranked 7th in the league, so they got kind of the benefit of the doubt there thanks to their pitching staff. Currently, they're 9 and 11. Their new projection has them down 2 wins to a 50 and 46 projected record. Top pitcher, Tyler Jandrone, he has a 362 ERA over his 5 starts. Like the look of him. Top batter, AJ Wright, is going off. 375, 460, 625 slash, hit 5 home runs. AJ Wright getting after it. My pick to improve on the mound, Brooks Walton. He has an ERA approaching 8 in the early going. I just think he'll turn it around. And batter pick to improve, give me Jake Gunther, batting around 250 despite only striking out 3 times in 78 plate appearances. That's going to have to work out eventually. The new offense, they stay at 11, so not new at all in the ranking. Pitching is also going to stay put at 7th in the ranking, but in the power ranking as a team, they are down 1 to number 8. We're talking Tri-City now. They are projected to go 50 and 46. Their offense, their pitching, and their power ranking spot was all at number 10 preseason. So 10s across the board there, not in the exciting way. Currently, they are 10 and 11. Their projection does not change. They're still projected to go 50 and 46. Their top pitcher, Jan Vargas, he's off to a solid start in the rotation. Top batter, Alec Oland, is off to a nice start so far. Don't really have a pitcher pick to improve. They don't really have too many guys that are like glaringly a mess. It's just not really exciting. They're not really getting big performances. Batter pick to improve, though, I got Oscar Campos. He just has a 527 OPS so far. I think he's due to get some results, putting a lot of balls in play. It's just hopefully a stick with him. Their offense is ranked 1 spot better up to number 9, as is their pitching up 1 spot to number 9, though they are remaining at number 10 in the power rankings there in Tri-City. The New Jersey Jackals projected to go 44 and 52. Offense was ranked 3rd preseason with their pitching ranked 14th. Obvious weak spot there. Power rankings had them at 11th going into the year. They are currently 9 and 11. They are actually up 1 in the win column projection-wise to 45 and 51. Top pitcher Joe Testa has been awesome. 38 years old, 1.71 ERA, just slinging it, bullying children. I love to see it. Top pitcher Luis Acevedo, or top batter Luis Acevedo, 375, 472, 569 slugging in that slash line. Crazy. Got a pair of home runs. You like to see it from him. They're not that crazy maybe in that ballpark. That ballpark's a different conversation, though. It's not really as hitter-friendly as we think. I digress. My pitcher pick to improve, I got Austin Parsley. ERA approaching 9 in his 4 starts, but he's had basically, it's just been a bad series of events. He's better than that. I believe in him to get it straightened out. My batter pick is Cam Williamson. He's batting just 133, but if he settles in, he should be able to work out of this. Offense is going to stay ranked at number 3. The pitching is going to stay ranked at 14, but because the pitching isn't quite as bad as it could have been, and the offense is solid, and some other teams are not great, they've actually bumped up 4 spots in the power ranking to number 7. So how about that one? Way to go. Go 9 and 11, and they end up bumping up 4 in the power rankings. All right, last 2 teams here. We got Trois Rivières. They are projected preseason to go 41 and 55 with an offensive preseason ranking at number 8. Pitching-wise, they were ranked 15th preseason. with them 13th in the power ranking heading into the year. Currently, they are 11-9, performing well. They've added 3 wins to their projections, so their new projected record is 44-52. Top pitcher, Tucker Smith, 2.42 ERA in his 4 starts. Awesome. Brendan Dadson, he's slashing 351, 479, 554 with 2 home runs offensively. If I've got to pick a pitcher to improve, I'm going Justin Terrian. He's allowed 16 earned runs in 14 innings. Not ideal, not a great 3 starts, huh? But his control's good. The whip is around 1. That should iron itself out as long as he can start missing some bats with those pitches in the zone. I think he'll be fine. My batter pick to improve, I got Brandon Hernandez, batting just 250 right now, but I think he's going to improve, though he is seeing reduced playing time lately, so maybe he won't. Maybe I'm off on that one. The offense stays ranked at 8th. The pitching stays ranked at 15th. The power ranking bumps up 1 to get Joao Rivera, now ranked 12th. And finally, New England Knockouts, projected at 28-68 record. Offensively, they were ranked last in the preseason projections. Pitching-wise, ranked last in the preseason projection. And power ranking, they were ranked last entering the year. Currently, they're 6-14. That'll checks out pretty well. New projection stays dead even at 28-68. Top pitcher so far, Richard Brito, 4.15 ERA in 26 innings, but the whip is down at 0.8, so maybe keep an eye on that. Top batter so far, John Cristino, 5 homers in 16 games. My pitcher pick to improve, I like Reeves Martin, 4.15 ERA in 8 2/3, but he's striking out more than a batter an inning, so I'm going to kind of gamble that that's going to start to turn out better for him. And my batter pick to improve, Luis Atile, is batting 116, but he's making contact consistently. He's just falling out of favor in the lineup quite a little bit, so keep an eye on that one. The offense is up a spot, now ranked number 15, but pitching stays ranked 16th in the league, and the power ranking keeps them at 16. That was a dense one, but we got through it, which is good because I need this done. I need this episode done. Thursday, we'll go back to our normal recap episode. I got some stuff coming on Instagram, actually, in the next week. Actually, maybe next 24 hours. We'll see. Having some fun. Maybe getting a little quick video content. We'll see. Or it's a disaster, and it won't happen. Or it will, and then we'll all go, let's never do that again. Let's pretend it didn't happen. Possible. So keep an eye on the Instagram. Keep an eye on YouTube. And we'll be doing some not really game watch-along live streams because that feels like a long endeavor. And if you give me 3 hours on a live stream, I'm going to say something that probably gets me in trouble. So not going to do that. But what I'll probably do is I'll do some watch-alongs, maybe some deep dives into things that come up along the game, give my thoughts on each team as I watch them. And we'll kind of edit those down to some 5 to 10 minute long videos on YouTube, or 15. I have no idea how long that's going to be. Depends how interesting the game is, if we're being honest about it. Yeah, so that's it. For preseason projection stuff done. Previews, finally. I'll do a little bit of content coming up on the Pecos League and the United Shores and the Empire League. Just going to keep it player-focused, not really team-focused over there, just for manageability's sake. But we'll look at guys who could be coming up that you'll want to know if you're following Indy Ball. But until then, I'm Ryan from Indy Ball Nation. We made it through the preseason projections, finally. So enjoy that. I will. For like 3 minutes until the next thing comes up. Have a good one.
I may not have a lot, but I love what I got. A 4x4 and a good fishing spot. I hope this time my card won't decline.